Are you going to talk about Kim Kardashian following you?
No, I'm not. But
Okay, we
guys,
should.
woo! It's clear that Pantone does nothing from a trend perspective. Really the true indicator, like if you really want to know what is going to be trendy, what's seeming to pop out is like the arbiter of truth is this Pinterest. When you start getting into these like brand stacking moments, like it's not Rode on its own, it's that you need that product as part of your makeup routine. That's what generates millions and millions of women buying a product of yours, is because you're product stacking. Lululemon's CEO steps down, and I hate to say it, I think the art of the brand had a role in that.
A lot of the big public companies kind of go and find that CEO who looks like a celebrity who makes all that money, and they really aren't effective at championing a brand.
So Shopify launches agentic storefronts.
Essentially, it's like an AI assistant, but better, because I want to be able to say, hey, can you go pick up this list of groceries or do something like that.
There was a scandal this week with Prada. It's called Kolapuri. Basically, they had men wearing them on the runway, and people were like, how dare you take an iconic style from India and culturally appropriate it and put it on the runway.
I think there's a lot of guerrilla fake outrage campaigns out there that are tied to these things.
MAC Cosmetics, a Canadian company that is now owned by Estee Lauder, has partnered with Chappell Roan. But what's interesting is that Chappell Roan's fans are being really critical of it because she basically said that she wouldn't be doing brand partnerships.
So it went away from its roots. So for Chappell Roan to say, oh, MAC is so in line with me, it's not. It wasn't.
McDonald's takes down their AI Christmas ads.
This wasn't offensive. This was just saying the season is nuts and things go crazy, and you can go into a McDonald's and get something that gives you some calm.
What a brand, what a brand, what a brand, what a mighty good brand. Say it again now. What a brand, what a brand, what a brand, what a mighty good brand.
Welcome back to another episode of Art of the Brand. Well, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. And we've got a light Christmas flair at the end just to get everybody in the Christmas spirit.
Think about your favorite Christmas commercials, movies, and songs.
Yeah, you guys got to send them in to us. DM us some of your favorite stuff. Or if you see stuff online that's good for the holidays, send it our way.
I actually, to be honest with you, when I sat down to prep for the Christmas element and I watched the best, I have to reveal an emotional side. Like, I shed some serious tears.
Did you really?
Watching the best Christmas commercials is incredibly moving. We'll talk about that at the end. I'll tell you why it's amazing for
Am
branding.
I like the Grinch? Because like I just was like, man, yawn when I was watching yours.
Yeah.
There's no more like that just struck a chord. Like, yes, I am the Grinch.
Well, I want to argue the topic, not criticize the person. So let's go.
Let's kick it off with a topic that has done well for us in the past, the Pantone color of the year. So in case you missed it, I think this is going to be a kickoff topic for Philip, because he was like, this came out probably a week ago. And when it first came out, there was a lot of angry women on the internet being like, how dare you choose the color of the year to be cloud white?
How do you call it white? White is evil.
Oh, how could you pick that? But I mean, that's not really what I want to talk about today.
I know you want to talk about the fashion.
I feel like I'm at this crossroad where it's clear that Pantone does nothing from a trend perspective. Like the last year's color, which was Mocha Mousse, which wasn't, was actually good considering like how bad the last few years colors were. But like you didn't find it anywhere at any point in any industry. So it's clear that it's no longer driving trends. But what's interesting to me is it's kind of the Apple strategy. Like, because they continue to do it, we continue to keep talking about them, even though yesterday we were at the Canadian version of like TJ Maxx or Home Goods, and I saw like Pantone has now like white labeled their name, and they were like on journals.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, that is when you know the brand has truly died, but that they're like selling their stuff at like the aftermarket store. But yeah, I really want to talk about like trend forecasting and using this as like that's what I mean, like I'm at a crossroads, because it's clearly not doing anything anymore, but we do talk about it. So
it's not my main focus in terms of the world, but when I look at trends that are going on in the world, why I think the Pantone may be less relevant is I think people are staying too close to old metrics. So for the year, the world has moved so fast that things can't stay relevant for a year.
Yeah.
And so when you stay to a year, you're trying to be relevant in forecasting, but you can't. Like everything has gone 10x, 20x in terms of speed.
Yeah.
So it should be a month. If somebody wants to try and forecast, they could try to forecast monthly, but to say for a year, you're going to know what the color is, it's not tenable.
It also speaks to how much the world has changed, right? Like really what Pantone is for now is like small businesses, micro influencers, or, people in marketing positions that want to make a justification to higher up that there's a reason that they should go with a campaign because they selected that color. Like there is no gravitas and weight because now trends are no longer forecasted by brands like Pantone. It's done by influencers or celebrities, right? Like talking about Marty Supreme, like right now, orange is kind of a color. It's having a moment. Him and Kylie are wearing it everywhere. You got the orange
I
iPhone.
love orange.
Gran Tremezzo. I mean, that's not new, but we're feeling like orange is everywhere right now. And I was even doing some research, and there's the Odyssey is coming out this year, and Christopher Nolan did a version of this, and it's just got like every famous person in it. And basically what the idea is that we're going to be seeing tons of blue on the red carpet because now movies, music need to do more to generate like that association and creating that marketing rule 7.
We don't trust experts the way we used to because there used to be limited funnels of getting information, and so people would trust Pantone to tell us, but now you can go online and access influencers who inspire you, right? So these kind of authorities that come down and tell you what's going to be amazing in the next year, they're not trusted or relied upon the same way.
And that's really where we're going with the next segment, is that really the true indicator. Like if you really want to know what is going to be trendy, what's seeming to pop out as like the arbiter of truth is this Pinterest kind of like wrap up. And Pinterest every year now does this kind of trend report, and they've come out with the 2026 trends. But what's relevant about it is that this actually has at least more accuracy because it's based on data of what people are planning to do for the year ahead. So you can actually get a better assessment within these categories because it's what these marketing teams or design teams or creative teams are pinning for the upcoming campaigns.
And that goes back to an amazing book called Wisdom of the Crowds, which I think people should read because...
Is that Nassam Taleb? No, it's the other guy, Douglas Murray.
No, he wrote one... he wrote one after that went on that theme, but Wisdom of the Crowds is just...
The Madness of Crowds.
He had the Madness of Crowds. Wisdom of the Crowds is like if you had 1,000 people and 10 experts and you all asked them to guess the amount of jelly beans in a jar, the crowd will always be more accurate than the experts. And that's why when you're kind of searching for answers now, there's some forums where you can ask the crowds to kind of... It's actually helped pinpoint where planes were lost. Like something about the wisdom of human consciousness working together is way more accurate than any one expert.
Cool. And you know what is actually so on brand? That author is Joe Abercrombie. So you just threw in another brand onto Art of the Brand.
There you go.
That's a really, really astute point. And to break down what the trends are for 2026, they include Cabbage Crush. So cabbage becoming the it vegetable. Gummy, a move towards translucent, jelly-like aesthetics in decor and fashion. And scent snacking. Gen Z is moving away from signature scents to mixing multiple perfumes.
Do you think a human wrote that or ChatGPT? Scent snacking?
Stacking.
Stacking. I thought you said snacking.
No, scent stacking.
Okay, go ahead.
I think this actually makes perfect sense. I'm not done my list, though. This makes perfect sense because when you think about what's really been a huge driver in beauty, it's like it's the combination of hacks. I actually had an aha moment the other day that I must discuss on the Art of the Brand, and it was...
Are you going to talk about Kim Kardashian following you?
No, I'm not.
Okay, we should.
No,
360 million followers. She follows 350 people.
394. You literally...
One of them is Camille Moore.
It's a big day.
It's a
big day, guys. Celebrate.
And it tells you that when you criticize somebody, honestly, sincerely, and thoughtfully, you can actually get their attention. You don't have to shy away from creating controversy because I really think the reason why she followed you is because you were saying astute things about her business. We were.
The lesson of, Philip thought at first that it was, a way for her to get to him. That was what she was telling the office, is like, she really loved that blue sweater from last week. No, but what I think that needs to be like a theme that you need to carry going into 2026 is people are sick of nobody saying anything. And as long as it's not like petulant,
Yeah.
you know, if it's thoughtful and it's reasonable. And I had someone actually reach out to me, I had a great conversation with them, an absolute like queen in PR. She's like, you name it, she's done it. She's worked with everybody. And she's like, you know, I love your content. She goes, because I don't necessarily agree with everything, but at least you're saying something. Like, you have such a clear point of view and perspective. And like, guys, like, people want to hear what you have to say. Stop being afraid of the idea of some loser in like the middle of nowhere not agreeing with you. Like, I'm only saying that just to kind of fire you up, not to just call people that disagree with you losers. But there's just there's so much of that we hold ourselves back for people that don't matter. But back to scent snacking. So my aha moment, you know, when I thought about the reason why Rhode will be successful in Sephora, although I am disappointed that it lost the trajectory that it was on, and only because I'm a brand purist, is that one of the things that they did so well is her glazing milk has become like a vital step in current beauty culture. So like, people are like, they shake it onto their hand and then they mix it with a foundation. Like, the current foundation in the moment is like Lady Gaga's House Labs, and that combination makes a really beautiful, like glowy, thinned kind of foundation experience. But my point is that when you start getting into these like brand stacking moments, like, it's not Rhode on its own, it's that you need that product as part of your makeup routine, and that's what generates millions and millions of women buying a product of yours, is because you're product stacking. So the idea of scent stacking being a trend makes sense, because that allows, you're not trying to just market your product alone. If you can have an influencer kind of mix two together, and then that becomes like a thing, now you have people buying two different products to make a new product. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that makes sense to be a trend that's coming, because it's worked so beautifully for beauty brands. And that's like, even when I talk about, I did a swipe through on one size, we didn't talk about it on the podcast, Patrick Starr, he's made, he's a $175 million a year business, and 70% of his revenue is from a facial spray. And it's like, because the facial spray has become this like beauty stacking experience. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like a part of like, to achieve this look that's gone viral, that's a part of achieving the look. So like, Rhode has a part in it, one size has a part, like, you get what I'm saying? Like, all, so it's not about you getting your brand as like the full face. It's like, can you get one of your products to become a part
On
of
the recipe.
On the recipe.
Right? Isn't that cool? It's kind of like a recipe for your
nailed it.
beauty look. Huh?
That's why you're on the show.
Thanks. It's not the blue sweater.
No, I mean, the blue sweater was pretty cool. You picked that out yourself. I'm so proud.
In Japan.
In Japan is true. So, and then the last one is doily aesthetics. So like, think crochet and lace everywhere, which is actually kind of interesting, because there is such a huge move to heritage in branding, right? Burberry, we talked about this several episodes ago, going back to its roots. Roots.
Are you allowed to use
going
the
back
bad
to
word
roots.
trad? Doesn't it seem like there was a move back to tradition?
I mean, major. It's what I'm being interviewed right now in Vogue is like on this whole idea of like, how did this happen? Like, how did we go back to this like almost like an archaic concept? Like, how is that trendy to go like backwards?
That's a very limited approach to the world. Like,
I just think that's like,
The
for a
cycles-
soundbite standpoint,
yeah.
like the best way to summarize it. The only reason why my argument to it, the why is that Gen Zs grew up in a time where everything was so novel. Like, everything was innovative. Everything was new. So this idea of them being able to buy something that's old, that's like,
or has meaning.
that has meaning, or is rooted in something they've seen but have not had the chance to experience, is actually what's desirable.
And I also think they're just appreciating that things were made better. Like, there was more meaning. Like, everything is like...
Yeah, it's not disposable. Yeah,
right?
you're totally
Like,
correct.
It's different. And then you can actually put attention to it, because I think people need to remember that of the possessions we have, there's lots that we throw out, but there are some that kind of grow up with us. And I almost used to feel like they would absorb some of our experience, like an old baseball glove or a great pair of jeans. You know what I mean? Like, they can actually have some of life meaning in them if you can use them for many years.
Well, it's almost become like the drinking game of the moment in branding. It's like every time you hear world building, like, take a shot. But it actually speaks more to world building, because it makes you feel. right?
But
And
you're creating your own world. That's
but
permanent.
it's
right?
permanent, but it evokes emotion. Like when you see like doilies, when you see, I instantly think of my immigrant grandmother, and like what she prized was like these beautiful crocheted tablecloths that she would like only bring out at special occasions, and how much of a ceremony it was to like bring out her silverware that she was given at her wedding. And like she didn't have a lot of nice things, but the things that she had, they weren't nice because they were branded, they were nice because they actually were made well, and they like had meaning in her life.
There's an absence of meaning in the world. Like when we went to Oman, and our amazing guide, when he brought out his kind of tablecloth for eating on the ground, like the care he put into some of his possessions, just you could see how much meaning it had to them. Or when you go to Japan and you see the tea ceremony, like there's something very cool about things that matter.
Yeah, you're totally correct. So I think like in wrapping up this segment, it's I think on one hand, Pantone has lost the plot. We've known this for a few years. I think Cloud Dancer is actually its better one of most, because when is Off-White not on trend? Like Off-White is, as I'm wearing it as we speak, it's really is not groundbreaking. So it's probably the best thing that they've done, but I don't really know what role they play in a very digital world where we're speaking about moments, and people can create moments that don't have to be planning out in a calendar year in advance. And probably the places to look are sites where people are doing research for what's upcoming, like Pinterest.
What would be more interesting to me as a guy who's not that would be color stacking would be interesting.
Okay.
Like just knowing, you know what I mean? Like there
Well,
should
our
be some
producer today is color stacking.
Yes, it's fluorescent green, orange, and
Blue
jean.
jean, leather bag. I'm like, wow, this is a moment. This is a personal brand statement.
It's very BMX.
So next up is Lululemon's CEO steps down, and I hate to say it, I think the art of the brand had a role in that.
Well, we do know some board members checked out that viral video we did about it. So.
No, the swipe through, the NFL Lululemon swipe through guys. Apparently, this is just like, cone of silence, everybody, cone of silence. So Deloitte does their consulting for Lululemon. And when I posted that swipe through the Lululemon NFL kind of hit piece, it was the day they were doing their all hands for like 2026 planning with Deloitte. And that post it was kind of like silence in the office, because it was going so viral, and all the comments were like so positive in our favor of like how stupid of a collaboration that was, while they're facing it was like the week before was like the Wall Street Journal ad from Chip Wilson. And apparently everybody in the office, like the Deloitte office, was like freaking out, because all that I know, and I can say this because was not a confidential thing for the rest of being clients, all that I know is that Deloitte was largely in support of the strategic thinking that we were talking about in the swipe through, and the internal Lululemon team ultimately made the decision. And it was kind of a bit of like an eerily silent moment. So I want to say we played a part in it. I don't know. I don't think we're happy about it. I think, in fact, actually, when I think about this, I'm like, wow, it's actually crazy how much culture really is determining livelihoods.
When you lose the founder who builds the brand, and you replace it with a board from a public company that seeks out some sort of celebrity CEO that doesn't know how to build a brand, just knows how to manage a monopoly.
Is he a celebrity?
Well, there's this whole cult of CEO celebrities now.
Oh, yeah.
Where they I did some articles on it, on how like Walmart is promoting CEOs who started on the floor.
Yeah.
Right? Home Depot is doing it in that way as well. But a lot of the big public companies kind of go and find that CEO who looks like a celebrity who makes all that money, and they really aren't effective at championing a brand.
This article, or this headline, broke in the Wall Street Journal, which is fascinating because Chip Wilson, the original founder of Lululemon, literally purchased a full page ad in the Wall Street Journal to do a hit piece to Lululemon. So Wall Street Journal is getting kind of these embargo deals to get these like headlines on Lulu. Surprise, surprise, Chip Wilson is very happy about the CEO stepping down. But what's interesting is the CEO, Mr. McDonald, helped secure Lululemon's position as a dominant player in athleisure. The company's revenue nearly tripled during his time as CEO, from $3.28 billion in 2019 to $9.61 billion in 2024. He oversaw its expansion to a wider selection of products and helped grow its international footprint. So it's interesting from a standpoint of, because we're going to talk more about brand than just sales. And I think that's probably the most interesting takeaway as brand owners is sometimes when you actually have that ROI conversation, sometimes ROI can be the death of what made you great in the first place. And it's why branding is an art and a science. Like, it's more than just numbers.
I take it from an investor perspective that when I look at the CEOs in this company's story, you've got founder who breaks in, does well, gets bought.
A disruptive person.
Right. And then you have a CEO that comes in and kind of stabilizes that for a while. And then usually, like, some of these CEOs are very good at scaling. And that's not a bad time to buy into it because it'll scale. But after 5 years of scaling, there's concurrent brand destruction going on in the process of over expanding. And so the stock the stock went up after he was fired, but the stock has been going down.
50% the down. But I think it speaks to your original idea on the quantum physics of branding. It's like when you're so obsessed about growth, i.e. profits, and you're just over obsessed about it that you actually lose something in the process. And with Lululemon, when you go into their store, like, yes, they have way more SKUs, which they can increase average order value. But what's fascinating is, to me, the only people that really want Lululemon are children. And when the brand goes to the kids, it doesn't have that cool factor because they're not economically driving sales. Like, they ask for it at their birthdays and at Christmas, and maybe they get some extra, pairs for dance in school. But, like, that's not a model that can sustain globally.
There's a fine line there that could be a discussion because young people usually set trends. So, like, is it kids or is it teenagers? Because, like, when you read...
No, it's like 9, 8, 9.
So when it kind of goes below the kind of the teenagers and you got, like, 12-year-olds and 10-year-olds wanting it, then it's lost its cool. Because I think a lot of young people adopt stuff, or they used to adopt stuff before it became cool.
Where it's actually an interesting conversation is, to me, it's quite similar to Sephora. And I actually think these are warning signals for Sephora.
And Starbucks.
And Starbucks.
And kids are saying, hey, I want a Starbucks, sugar treat.
Yeah. I wear makeup when we're on the show. Like, I have to wear makeup sometimes in work. I don't, love to wear makeup every day. I'm not like someone that has to, I can't leave the house without wearing tons of makeup. But, I have no desire to go to Sephora anymore. I don't, to me, it's I have to, because one of the products I have to restock on, happens to be there. But I am not driven to discover anymore at Sephora because I just feel like everything is childish. I feel the same way about Starbucks. It doesn't seem to me like somewhere where I want to go. I will go. I won't look down on it if someone has a Starbucks cup. I'm wearing Lululemon leggings right now as we're talking. But it's not where I'm thinking about actively going to buy something. What's interesting about Lululemon and why it's plateauing is what all the kids want from Lulu are black leggings, right? Because it's just such a staple in your wardrobe. But how many black leggings can you have, right?
Well, I think they can have 4 or 6, some of them.
But my point is that when they've scaled to, they have an insane footprint, and they're investing more and more into color waves that people don't want, and that's why it's gone to the kids, right? The kids will buy the bright pink and the bright blue scuba sweaters, but that's not what the adults are looking for, right? They're looking for a different look and style. So Lululemon is lost because they're not really speaking to anyone. They're just producing products and hope it sells. There's no core essence to the brand.
This is why generally we don't and I especially don't like working with public companies, because they're governed by shareholder valuation that has to continue to grow.
Yeah.
And when your brand has been degraded because of bad decisions, sometimes the only way to fix it, if you want long-term, but most people aren't holding stocks for long-term, is you have to have a decline. You actually have to reorganize, dip down, and then come back up. But because they're always focused on quarterly growth, everything they're going to do is be designed to try to maximize sales. They're not going to be able to rehabilitate the brand. So Lulu is in a death spiral. I'd be buying shorts on that.
Yeah, I think the thing that is interesting...
Not that I'm a financial advisor.
Yes, true. What's interesting about your comment, when I think about Lululemon, to dig deep, I don't know who their customer is. I see their stuff, to me, is very boring. There really isn't a distinct style. There isn't, when I see the store in the mall, it could be Uniqlo. It could be, it doesn't feel distinctly Lululemon anymore.
You know what? I was thinking about this when we were doing the segment, because I walked by it. When Lululemon started to grow, when it was that very cool brand.
I could not go
from
in.
my perspective.
I was like, oh shit, that's so cool.
But you know why? I found the people in there where there was something about the
Highly
people,
paid and overeducated. It was the Trader Joe's model.
but they were also like successful in that you
Yeah.
can tell they had specialized in a difficult sport.
Yes,
Or they kept
yes.
themselves very fit and they were kind,
Very kind. So Canadian.
but accomplished, tough, kind people.
yeah.
Right.
Athletic.
And that's what I loved about. Now when I go into Lululemon, I feel like I'm dealing with mental health trauma cases left and right.
No,
center.
you know what you feel like is you just feel like you're being judged. You don't need it.
No.
You don't need to be. Yes, you.
No,
you
no,
don't
I
feel-
don't find the people to be what Lululemon staff used to be. I think it's attracting a different type of person in there. And when I chat with them, they're still told to be friendly, but I don't get that sense of when you were first going in there, it attracted a certain type of employee
Yeah.
that was very committed to fitness
Yeah.
and athleisure, but it had a kind coolness to it. Now I go in, I just feel like it's not the same people in there I'm interacting with.
The thing with Lululemon that was interesting is that the brand used to be athletic first, and then they got into athleisure. What was interesting about the style and the design of the brand is that you would go in there to get like compression shirts and sports bras and leggings. And then they started introducing styles that were a bit more comfortable, professional, but it was novel to the brand. Like it was still focused on athleticism. But now the brand has turned into it's for people who that aren't pushing themselves, that there isn't working hard. It's just like you don't want to get dressed, and it's just like it's like comfy clothes around the house. But that isn't where the brand was founded, and that's why a brand like Skims will win. Is that Skims is loungewear, right? Like Lululemon is trying to get into all these different categories while trying to commit to none of them.
I want Lululemon to have the best products for the workouts that you do. That's what would attract me there. If it just becomes a generic fashion brand with stuff pouring in from China, that's not necessarily amazing anymore.
No, it's not amazing anymore. I think the issue with Lululemon is that they lost sight of who they are, and the wrong people got in control, and it was based on identity politics. And you can't have companies that are faceless, that when the founder is no longer there, that doesn't align with the original views that came with the company, because there's a lot of space for expansion and being more inclusive that could be very successful.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I look at Yeti, like a Yeti's a great example of a brand that has insanely expanded, has gotten into storefronts. And even when we were at the Yeti store in Arizona last, I distinctly remember the woman that was working there, you wouldn't peg to be like a Yeti, who would work in a Yeti store more traditionally, right? Like she was just not what you would expect. But because
But Yeti is for outdoors people, and why Yeti what succeeded is that Yeti didn't make it about being Republican. Yeti made it about this is for people who love outdoors, and liberals and conservatives love going outdoors. So they didn't double down on one side or the other. They just said we're the best thing for you to use for outdoor stuff. And so the person in Arizona we met, she liked hiking, but she didn't have to look like.
But that's my point, is that brands can expand and to have customer
Yeah.
types that don't. I'm not saying that Yeti is a Republican brand. I'm saying Yeti is more rugged,
Yeah.
right? Like Yeti is more like I'm going fishing in the back of the pickup truck. It's not really about hiking, because it's really heavy duty things that keep things hot and cold. It's more people that like camping than like, because it's not really what you'd bring with you when you hike, right?
Well,
like it's not light.
It's metal, but the Yetis work. That's the key thing that I get from that brand, is that
No,
if
the
I
Yetis
put
work,
my
yeah.
coffee.
The thing with Yeti is it's about Yeti.
Yeah.
It's not about all these other things. And like that's the issue, is that Lululemon it's actually to me something where I just actually want to stay away from. Like I put my hands up because I don't want to make it political, but the people that work there have, and I think more people don't actually want to enter that conversation than do. So people, you don't feel like there's that you're not being pulled into the brand, the world building. Take another shot.
You know what disappointed me, because I thought it was an opportunity for Lululemon, is Kit and Ace, and I think you know more about it, but
Yeah, I do.
they kind of had a branch where they were trying to move into more work leisure. You know, and they actually had some suits. I had bought a couple suits there, but I never saw that really take off. But I thought that could have been an interesting element.
I'll tell you why.
Okay, tell me.
It was Chip Wilson's second wife. So
really?
that was because of like Lululemon was growing so big, and they were just, it was too complicated, and he saw a need for, like, Chip Wilson wanted to move Lululemon more in that direction, like have like suits and have, but like because of the way the company was growing, they exited, and then they put more effort into Kit Nace. So that's why Kit Nace had that like initial kind of like moment,
Yeah.
because she went more into that, and Chip had gone out of Lulu. But the right idea, wrong way of going about it. The thing to me with Kit Nace is the idea was so good, but it's actually an interesting alternative case study, because the brand never grew. Like when I go back and look at the site now, it looks like the same stuff that they have had
Yeah.
10 years ago. So there's no evolution to the brand, whereas Lululemon evolved too much. So it's actually kind of a funny comparison, considering they were like sister companies.
I think there's space to improve the business wear. You know, I love that you could buy a suit that you could actually squat down and pick something up in, as opposed to a lot of great suits you don't have the mobility.
Yeah. Yeah, totally agree. So next, let's talk about Shopify. So Shopify launches agentic storefronts, which is actually a really big deal. So I'm going to read you guys a little bit of this headline. So Shopify launched a new agentic storefront tool for brands. These storefronts will aim to help brands connect the dots between their sales and consumer interactions within AI platforms like ChatGPT and Perplexity. So basically, the idea is that brands who are built on Shopify can integrate with ChatGPT, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot on their own. And then basically the idea is, like, on the back end of your Shopify, you can toggle like on and off for them to do the integration. Now, so what does that mean? So it basically means that you can track the attribution of what's happening on ChatGPT. So ChatGPT, if you ask, so Victoria Beckham stuff is on ChatGPT through this integration. So if you ask ChatGPT that you need to restock her tinted foundation drops, it will send you the link, and you can buy the link through ChatGPT through the Shopify storefront. And what the problem has been is a lot of people are doing searches on ChatGPT, but there's been no attribution model from ChatGPT gives you this answer, and you can track it to a conversion. So really what this is doing is embedding the attribution. The core thing, though, to know is that so agentic means agent focused, so AI agents. I know that I'm not trying to mansplain. I just thought that was a really interesting word when I heard it out loud, and I wanted to just explain it so that it's stuck in your brain. So as you start seeing things that say agentic, you can go, Camille, explain that to me. And it's agent focused. It comes from the root of agent.
I think I got to change a tire on a car since the last time I spoke, but let's go on.
Okay, jump in. The only thing I was going to say is that it's not actually fully agentic by the definition of it. And all that it basically means is we're getting closer to having AI agents do the entire purchase funnel transaction.
It's got to come, because essentially it's like an AI assistant, but better, because I want to be able to say, hey, can you go pick up this list of groceries or do something like that. There's a trust element that I haven't seen yet, where if I develop a relationship with my AI of choice, I can give them my credit card number and feel like they can use it without it getting compromised. Like, can you get an AI agent that will take personal information, make you feel comfortable that it'll be protected, and then it can actually just go and buy it? I'm like, look, I need to get these 3 things delivered to my house for tomorrow. Can you get it to me? And then it's smart enough to come back and go, hey, look, that's not in stock. This is on sale over here. Can I, like, you almost want to develop a relationship with it so it knows you well enough so it can make decisions in your absence to make things faster and complete the transaction. Just like we're seeing more and more when we call companies, the customer, like I think in the last 2 weeks, I've probably asked 3 different companies, the representative I'm speaking to, are you AI? And 2 of them said yes, right? And one person just had an amazing radio voice. She used to be in radio, and she was very complimented. But the other 2 were actually AI, but it's getting very close that you can't tell the difference. But they're asking questions that are quite intelligent. We just need, as consumers, we need an AI agent that can deal with that company AI agent.
That's the whole move. It's like, why am I talking to the AI agent?
Yeah.
Why isn't my AI agent talking to your AI agent?
Yeah.
No, I know. That's obviously where it's going.
And then
but
we're going to be able to put bling on them and avatar.
get
them
her a
up.
Chanel bag. My AI agent is the most chic out there. Well, I think that obviously great change is upon us. We are in a breaking news environment with this shit.
Can I drop something in here in the middle? Just for our listeners, just be very careful on your feeds, because I was working with some AI founders over the week. The amount of videos that are coming up on Instagram and TikTok LinkedIn and Facebook, it's almost about 20% of them are fake right now. If you see anything with an animal, a cute animal thing, it's almost 90% chance it's fake. If you see anything that's kind of protest related or government related, like there's a bunch of videos going on right now of ICE agents getting arrested, and they're actually AI videos. And so there are companies and organizations on both sides of the spectrum that are paying a lot of money to have AI videos being put into our channels that are getting pumped from overseas. So they have bots that are pumping these videos so they can get over the hump and go viral. And they're completely fake, but they're affecting people's views on what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
It's incredibly dangerous when it comes to elections. And that's why I wish I could say, like some of the other great podcasters, that this segment is sponsored by Ground News, which is this news agency that's sponsoring a lot of the podcasts that actually verifies stories, tells you what biases are and all that type of stuff. We're not yet sponsored by it, but I just want to say to our people, pay attention. These videos that get you upset one way or another or elicit big emotions, a lot of them are AI now masquerading as real.
You just gave them free placement.
Yeah, somebody's going to forward it to, they're going to sponsor us.
We don't want sponsors. We get offered all the time for sponsors.
No, I know, but I like Ground News.
Okay. So you bring up a really good point. Actually, today when I was like watching the commercials that we're going to talk about for Christmas, an ad came up on YouTube. And it was like such a good ad. There was this like, he called himself a poop doctor, and he was talking about how like people are walking around with up to 15 pounds of poop in their bodies. And then it went to a woman saying like yogurt and all. And like, and then I realized like, I was actually captivated by the ad. Like I never watched these ads. And then I realized like 20 or 30, I'm like, this is all created by AI. I don't even think this doctor is real. And just how good they've gotten at tapping into the human brain for selling a product and like having a doctor talk and then having these visuals and then moving to a woman that's like holding products and like foods you eat every day. And it really is dangerous because you could easily get sucked into that looking like it's medical fact and then buying the products that who knows what's in them.
Oh, and because they have such a short lifespan, like you can launch a product, put a lot of money into it, and make $1 million in 2 or 3 weeks, that they're actually using AI to copy faces, like famous faces and voices.
Yeah.
So it looks like they're
Stephen
supporting.
Bartlett talks about that all the time, that like people are getting frauded like huge amounts of money because he always says on his podcast the products that he uses he puts real money into. So when these other companies are like, this is a Stephen Bartlett approved product, there's so much trust there with his audience.
But the
it's so
cycle
dangerous.
is they can launch it, copyright it, do everything fake, make their money, shut it down, and it's all overseas.
Well, I even had that happen to me with
Yeah.
people getting like thinking that they're getting into. I was trying to bring them into a crypto circle. I'm like, yeah,
People
because
impersonated.
because I talk about crypto all the time, guys. Like I'm trying to bring you into crypto. Yeah, no, but it's crazy. But I guess the core takeaway though from this is it shows you that we have moved away from optimizing for search engines. So like if you're a company or you know somebody that's still spending serious money into SEO, how outdated that is, because we are now in AIO, which is optimizing for AI agents, and it's a breaking news environment. It's something to stay on top of. It's not as as simple as because where SEO had matured to. Yeah, go ahead.
Where it resonates with what we say a lot is in a free market of AI, the AI is going to have to become better at finding real things and real differences. So it doesn't mean that you need to stop doing, real stories, real content, because the AI is going to be finding you for their customer. So you have to create a system in your business that allows it to be found, and it's not through fake AI stuff. It'll be through real community engagements, real people talking about you, because AI will be able to pick out AI, see what real humans are. So you still need to double down on your own personal content creation.
Well, no, it's not still. You have to. And if you didn't, you're behind. The problem with SEO is that because of AI, it became so much easier for a majority of these SEO agencies are in India, and they could just chuck out like unlimited number of blogs with AI because everything was based on these search keywords. So the timing was actually was good because it was quite impossible to get ahead unless you had invested in SEO a long time ago, because the blog writing used to have meaning. Like someone actually had to write the blog, and and then like nobody goes on blog websites anymore because they lost meaning. Like they don't say anything. They're just keyword filled.
Substack is kind of a blog network, but now with video and everything. But it's
No, but it's not
changed a bit.
SEO.
Yeah.
That's completely different. So Substack, I did a whole article on it this week. There's just stimulation overload, right? Like you watch a video and your head is like floating around in all these different corners, and it's like all these different visuals, and it's exciting. But if you're actually trying to figure out like some deep shit, you need to read. And like Substack is moving people off of Instagram and TikTok, because especially for influencers, I talked about this week, when the algorithm changes and you had a repeatable content format that was generating hundreds of thousands of views, and it like stops working, and that's your only source of revenue is through affiliate revenue through Like to Know It or Shopify, you have to protect that. So you have to move away from where you're not dependent on an algorithm change. So Substack is like slower to build, harder to build, but it's a more intimate place where it's easier for you to sell to. Like the core publications that I read from, when they link products, I'm more inclined to just buy it, because it goes back to that parasocial relationship. Like I feel more connected to them when I read their words. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I want to get your thoughts on this. There was a scandal this week with Prada, and basically earlier this year, Prada had a huge scandal because they put, there's a really like a signature kind of design of an Indian sandal. I'm going to show it to you. Have you seen these shoes before?
I think we looked at them when we were in, was it Greece or whatever? That they're kind of like a Roman toe. I'm not sure if it's Indian only, but
They're iconically Indian. Like the whole point of this article is the reason why it's so controversial, is it's like, it's from this, it's called Kolhapuri. It's and it's basically, they had men wearing them on the runway, and people were like, how dare you take an iconic style from India and culturally appropriate it and put it on the runway. Anyways, it blew up. There's no way that it like impacted Prada's sales, because it was completely not offensive, and it was like an accessory to it. Well, I mean, who knows?
It could have been. I think there's a lot of guerrilla fake outrage campaigns out there that are tied to these things. Like
I think Sephora was.
Like if I was organizing a Prada thing, I would create a fake outrage cancel campaign to get it.
Well, I think it goes back to Kim Kardashian's masterclass, right? Where she's, I think that's an interesting side conversation. I think that when you're in that position, especially when you're in fashion, like how many places can you just constantly ideate from, right? Like a lot of these people that are in these design positions, like they're historians, right? Like they like to bring pieces and make it relevant again. So I think that it's less that it's like fake outrage, it's that more that there's certain outrage that they choose to care about versus not choose to care about and moving forward. It's
a topic we talk about a lot. You have to stop listening to the outrage people. There's like 100 or 1,000 people who make their living trying to find something to be outraged about, and it doesn't work to follow that. You know, like Prada does something with an Indian sandal and says cultural. There's just a whole market of people who want to create outrage, but don't respond to that noise. Respond to the signal. Did your customers like them?
No, but I'm not done the headline.
Okay.
So what they had this initial outrage, and then what they did is they're making a limited edition collection of sandals in India inspired by the country's traditional footwear.
Very smart.
And they're selling for $930. And what they did is they partnered with 2 government-backed production manufacturers. Like basically they worked with 2 people this is their PR headline of like, this is India approved, it's Indian sanctioned, it's Indian, we're happy, everything is good. So, but it's going to be done in collaboration with Italian designers and shoemakers so that it's made to Prada's standard, which is like cough, cough, why we could justify the $930 price point. But my point is, the way that you even started the segment shows that you plant something on the runway, see if it gets the crazy headline, use it. Now they're selling it 20,000 or 2,000 pairs of sandals, and they're going to be selling it at 40 different Prada stores worldwide. So they took a moment of controversy and turned it into an opportunity to sell product.
To me, that would be a plan I would build from the start, the whole thing from start to finish. Like that's the kind of intelligent way. But if it wasn't a plan from start to finish, it was a good reaction by the CEO or whoever was in charge there. What I would say though is, it sounds like they focused on appeasement. Rather, what I would want to know is that $900 sandal. How much of that $900 goes to the person making the sandal?
But that's the best part of the headline. Is that what's so funny is, in like
all
business
they did was
of fashion, Puck, the Vogue, everyone is like, oh, clap, 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 Prada.
Yeah.
You know, you're launching 2000. You've partnered with
Yeah.
Indian government agencies. You know, yes, it's $930, but it's Prada. We expect nothing less. There's no mention of the, like, how they're providing, like, pay parity, like,
That's why I'm on these sides of the arguments, is that these writers, they think, oh, they appeased the outrage, but they didn't deal with the critical issue. First of all, government agencies in India, who knows what's going on there, right? Because they're not known for their reliability. What I would have done is opened a factory there, paid, you know what I mean? Like done something that actually helped the people rather than appease the cancel culture. But it's still a very good response to the strategy. And I'm sure they'll sell a lot of those sandals because of that press.
well, I mean, it speaks to their core customer, right? Because their
Yeah.
core customer feels more virtuous in their
Yeah.
Prada purchase.
Yeah, they don't care that $900.
They don't ask those questions. Those questions aren't
$3
relevant.
goes to the worker.
But what's actually really interesting, though, as an aside point, is that isn't really Prada's problem.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting because when you are high fashion and you're spending those levels on sandals that you could buy for $20 in a market, it speaks to the identity of elitism. Like they want to be elite, right? So it doesn't really work with that customer because they're buying Prada. You know, like if they wanted to support an artisan, they can go on Etsy and get almost the same shoe that doesn't have the Prada sticker on it. It's actually interesting because our brains, like, we want the brand to be better, but the question is, like, what's the brand's problem?
It was a masterclass in dealing with some controversy and reacting intelligently.
And making money off it,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's literally all press is good press example.
It's another indicator of why you need good creative behind your campaigns. You need people who can think out of the box to do something to make an impact.
Yeah.
And if you have a small business, do something interesting.
Yeah. All right, next, let's talk about a Canadian company as in headlines. MAC has partnered with Chappell Roan, which, cue the song, Pink Pony Club.
Great
So,
song.
the best song. Literally love that song. It's one of those songs where, like, I could be in a really bad mood. And you just like put on Pink Pony Club and I'm like just, you know, twerking on my desk, you know, like I'm ready to go. But
Working on your desk.
basically, just because I needed one more chance at everybody take another shot, world building. It's actually really interesting. So MAC Cosmetics, a Canadian company that is now owned by Estee Lauder, has partnered with Chappell Roan. And on the face of it, Chappell Roan makes perfect sense because she's always in this like dulled white, extreme makeup, feels very drag queen-esque. She's very connected to the LGBTQ community, which has been literally Mac's, you know, heart and soul and roots since the beginning. Everything aligns, but what's interesting is that Chappell Roan's fans are being really critical of it because she basically said that she wouldn't be doing brand partnerships. And she came out with the Rolling Stones and was saying that all the money goes to world building. That's why I'm saying no to every effing brand deal right now, because I'm like, does it fit in this world? No, H&M does not fit in this world. Also, F H&M, she told Rolling Stones in an interview last year. No amount of money is going to make me consider working with anyone. It has to be 100% right. So what's interesting is that her audience is using this Rolling Stone statement to say, oh, but Chappell Roan, why did you do this collaboration? And I want to talk about, is this building on her world building? Is this an on-brand moment?
It just goes to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that it's about the paycheck. Like whatever, I don't
Ooh,
pay
you
attention.
think so?
I don't pay attention to what people say. I pay attention to what people do, because Mac got purchased by Estee Lauder,
That it did.
and it went in this kind of clean girl narrative. So it went away from its roots. So for Chappell Roan to say, "Oh, Mac is so in line with me," it's not. It wasn't, unless they gave it some. They promised her that she could do it. Like if I was Chappell Roan, I'd create your own brand, right? But maybe Estee Lauder executives went to her and said, "Hey, we need you to bring this back to where it was, to create a world of where it was." That it could be intelligent, because I agree that Mac stood out as a cool company that did things a little differently, and it was attractive to some audiences. And it kind of vanillaized itself and became boring. And this is a way to bring it back into the public sphere.
But I feel very different about it. I mean, ultimately criticizing someone for taking paychecks,
No,
at the end of the day, people need to make
yeah.
money. I think that this, to her credit, is 100% in line with the world that she's building. Like, there isn't a version of Chappell Roan that it doesn't feel like entirely Mac or Pat McGrath. Like, every time we see her, it's like editorialized, very creative makeup. Like, she's never like looking chill. Like, she's always like really overdone. And Mac makeup was always more of like the makeup artist's brand.
Yeah.
Right. And so to me, it really does feel completely in line. Yes, there was a period where Mac drifted, but I actually feel like Mac for a long time was more irrelevant because that style more went out of fashion. So I think that Mac did what you asked of Justin Bieber, where like they kind of went away and they retreated to supporting makeup artists, and then they've kind of come back in a way that feels like relevant. So to me, Chappell Roan's also in a position where when you're an artist, you're often at a high when you have an album come out or when you have a song come out, and she's right now in a lull because her great music was kind of the songs of the summer, and we're now, we're getting into January. So she also has a reason to stay relevant in a way that feels on brand, and I do feel like that is this. To your point on the makeup line, she to me is too new of an artist where I don't feel like I have an established like feeling for her to have a line. Like, it would feel too premature. So I think this licensing feel is better than her coming out with her line right now. But I think the only thing is it might have been cooler for it to be a Pat McGrath. But the Mac thing, like, it really does, it's in line with who her audience is and like what they can afford.
Chappell Roan needs to make a Christmas song as fun as Pink Pony Club.
I just feel like it's another opportunity to go Pink Pony Club.
But we need some new good Christmas songs.
We're on a higher chair today, so I'm just like raising the roof. Raise the roof. Okay. Do you want to talk about McDonald's AI, and then we'll move into our Christmas?
Yeah, it's part of the same topic, I think. But yeah.
All right. So we have a Christmas headline. McDonald's takes down their AI Christmas ads. So McDonald's Netherlands released and quickly deleted an AI-generated holiday commercial titled "The Most Terrible Time of the Year." It was a 45-second commercial that basically broke down a chaotic Christmas scene. There was exploding trees, traffic jams, with the tagline suggesting people hide out at McDonald's during Christmas. The backlash was immediate and fierce. The Dutch really didn't like it, and viewers were calling the visuals soulless, creepy, and demonic due to the uncanny effect of the AI generation. So I think it's a really interesting angle. I've got my own approach because I had some brands that sent me some CGI edited creatives, but why don't you kick it off, Mr. Miller?
So watch the commercial. There are many other very successful Christmas commercials that spoke about Christmas being stressful or families fighting, or the way this was done was more over the top. But a lot of the themes came from Christmas Vacation. Like, there was some humor to it, right? But I think what we've seen is this is kind of the first one in a few years, and that kind of outrage council culture is much more hearable. And so as soon as it comes out, people start posting right away. Like, there are people who are dying to make content to criticize things. And so when you make a commercial, you as a leader have to know there is going to be a cadre of people who are waiting to criticize it because it benefits their audience, their listenership, and all of that. The commercial is actually kind of funny, and it's not unlike what's been done in the past, but they choked and they just quit. And that's what you can't do as a leader, because although I don't think McDonald's is a refuge for me at Christmas, right? But them making fun of Christmas being hectic, but there's a place you can go where it's always the same. That theme from a human behavior perspective probably worked, because when people were having a whole freak out during Christmas, they see a McDonald's, they might be inclined to go in there. So sometimes you have to pay attention to the signal and not the noise. I think there's a lot of noise that comes from the cancel influencers who make content to criticize it right away.
Yeah.
But the noise, it might have turned out that more people went to McDonald's over the season. But I think, I don't know what happened behind the boardroom, because I didn't think it was offensive, but there's lots of offensive stuff in the world about Christmas. This wasn't offensive. This was just saying the season is nuts and things go crazy, and you can go into a McDonald's and get something that gives you some calm.
I feel very differently about this. I think the issue with AI is that it allows decisions to be executed very quickly without much weight, and it allows people to not make on-brand decisions. And I don't disagree with you that the Christmas season is stressful, like all those things are correct. It just feels like it seems like a dystopic version of McDonald's. and like it's not on brand to McDonald's. And if this was a full-blown commercial, like it would have never gotten to the point of like casting the people, getting those themes, paying for that commercial. But because it's free to do it on Nano Banana 2.0, someone can create what looks like a full-blown commercial production and put it on social media, and it doesn't at all feel like McDonald's. It feels like what someone would do that is like a YouTuber talking about you can use a programming to do an ad and like it have a McDonald's feel, but like it'd be completely not McDonald's.
You have to make sure you're listening to your target audience, because there's a bunch of people that are going to go on and call it AI slop, and it might be, but I've seen commercials that are successful that have garbage acting. It's like it's written by somebody in grade 3, but it worked. Right? And in today's world where people are fast moving, they like AI, there's a lot of people accustomed to it. It might have been the right commercial, but they might be listening to the wrong person. People can call it AI slop, but why would you ban a commercial?
But to me, I actually think what they're getting at is when you watch this commercial, it's brand death by 1,000 cuts. It's someone that's in a decision-making position that's wanting to do their own creative act without it actually being in line with the brand. And because it requires so little budget to do it, you can, like, how much more you have to be protective over your brand, because it's so easy to do things that it could just, to me, it doesn't make sense for the McDonald's universe.
They've been doing some interesting things at McDonald's. Their Happy Meals, non-Happy Meals. It makes sense to me in a short attention span world. Make things fast, get themes going, so that people remember to buy from you. It's, like, it's a divergence from the commercials that I love, which tell stories that have meaning, that are beautifully executed. But when it comes to sales, I don't know which one is going to work or not in the future, because the world is moving towards.
I think that you're missing the point. Like, when you watch the commercial, like, forget about AI being an easier way to execute ideas.
Yeah,
when you watch the commercial, does it make you want to go to McDonald's or buy from McDonald's?
But I don't buy from McDonald's. That's what I'm saying, is that I think probably a
Okay,
lot
but
of
I don't drink Coca-Cola. We're about to talk about amazing Coca-Cola commercials that makes me want to go buy Coca-Cola.
But we'll speak to that, whether or not it works for Coca-Cola customers. I'm saying the people criticizing this McDonald's ads, I don't think a lot of them are McDonald's customers. I think they're elite journalist type people who want to have opinions to be relevant, and so are looking for something to be relevant. But the person who's going on and buying Happy Meals or Big Macs at McDonald's aren't the people who are writing those articles, right? And that's what I'm saying, is this might work for their customer, but they bow to
I don't think it was
pressure.
at all about headlines. I think that someone posted it, and within 20 minutes there was like 300 comments of like, what the fuck is this? Is this a joke? What are you doing? This is so dark. I hate this. What are you? And because it was just such a slog and it was an off-brand commercial, it just made more sense for them to delete it than for them to keep it up. Like, I think that it was there's nothing positive to the commercial. It's literally a scene by scene of this like dark dystopic world where like everything goes wrong.
No, it wasn't dark or dystopic. It was capturing the craziness of the Christmas season. Like, I watched it this morning. It wasn't dark. It was just, but I think what really upset people is that it took a Christmas carol that's positive, and then they said it's the most dysfunctional time of the year, or whatever it was, right? Rather than the most wonderful time of the year. That's probably where the error was, is they changed the commercial, a cherished Christmas song, and made it negative. Because if you say it's the most horrible time of the year, you're saying Christmas is a horrible time, as opposed to the commercials kind of showing how Christmas can be stressful. I think the error might have been in changing the lyrics of the song.
I don't know. I mean, like shit's catching fire.
Yeah, it's like Christmas Vacation in many ways, one of the most popular movies ever. But
yeah, but like Christmas,
we wouldn't have come up with this campaign. But
never.
But I wouldn't have canceled it after 300 comments from people who are looking to complain about everything.
I mean, I just literally, I don't know. I'm shocked that we're having an argument about this. Like, at the end, it's when you talk about storytelling and you go to the end of the commercial, like, usually there's a sense of like, even the ones we're going to talk about, like, there's something sad or something that happens, and then there's like a moment of like warmth that like brings you together and makes you feel like the core point of like where you want to have the feel the most emotion is what they rush the most. It's like,
I'm not saying this is an ad that should get an award. I agree with you. They rushed the McDonald's thing at the part. It's AI. It's over AI. It was cheap and easy. I'm just saying it didn't need to be canceled, but it's nowhere near the kind of masterpieces that are in Christmas commercials.
No, I mean, like, it's not offensive.
Mm-hmm.
like it's not hateful, but I mean it's not good. So if and McDonald's, I do feel like should have a standard of good.
No, but that controversy might have led to money. Like might have led to sales. Sometimes crappy things get controversial and they can work. It's divergent from what we're going to talk about.
I guess we'll never know.
Because it got canceled by the Dutch.
About the Dutch.
They don't screw around. The Dutch tell you exactly how they feel.
Right away.
I love the Dutch.
And they're just so to the point. Okay, so Christmas movies. What's your number one?
Can I tell you a Dutch Christmas story?
Okay.
Can I do it? When I was in NATO headquarters, we would rotate through Christmas parties during the Christmas season. And so because of NATO headquarters, we had kind of Spanish, Italian, British, American, Canadian, and the Dutch. And there was just a cultural element that I used in my thesis later, that when we went to the Italian Christmas party that was run by the Italian contingent, it started 2 hours late, and there was enough food to fill a church for like 20 officers who went there. And just totally different dynamic. But the Dutch one, I'll never forget, is my first Dutch Christmas party. And so we go to the person's house, and the instructions were so almost rude. You cannot get into the house if you arrive past 7 p.m. Like, and I love the Dutch. And the Dutch know me, they love Canadians. And then we went in, the food, it was like there was a math wizard who had planned out the exact portions for every person who attended. Like there was 4 corners of sandwiches with the crust cut off, and if you wanted more, it wasn't there.
Yeah, there's no more.
And everything started, and at 9:30, everybody was kicked out. Like it was like we
Time to go.
didn't even start eating until 9:30 on the Italian one. But there was
amazing.
so much food coming in. Anyhow,
That's a great story. What is your favorite Christmas movie?
in terms of full-length movie, A Christmas Story, I just love the voice of the narrator in the Christmas story, and like a kid, progressing through Christmas from a kid's version of the world.
Yeah.
Right? So the adults were the players, but you got to see the world through the eyes of the child, right? And I haven't seen a lot of Christmas movies where the whole movie is kind of told through the eyes of like a 12-year-old. That had like some really cool, like it was beautifully done. If you haven't seen The Christmas Story, it's freaking hilarious. I love it, and always made me want to get Chinese food on Christmas Eve after that thing. But the one that It's a Wonderful Life is amazing, but there's one, if you haven't seen it, it's called Nestor the Long-Eared Donkey, and I just love listening to that with my kids. It's like a claymation, kind of like the old beautiful claymation ones, but it kind of sits as an outsider.
Yeah.
It was made by the same people who did Little Drummer Boy, but Nestor the Long-Eared Donkey just has like themes of parents, sacrifice, being an outcast, and being welcomed in, which is really kind of what religions are in many ways.
Yeah,
like
totally.
there's parental sacrifice, there's being an outcast, finding a welcoming community, and doing something that's inspiring.
That's literally like the Jesus story.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you think about it.
That's kind of what they're
yeah.
doing. But it's a movie that, if it doesn't make you a little misty-eyed, like I don't think you're a human, because it's so beautifully done. And
Yeah.
Nestor reminds me of Moneypenny in Your Arms there with her long ears.
Mishi.
And what's your favorite Christmas?
Actually, from the same production company, mine is Santa Claus is Coming to Town, the 1970 like claymation version.
Yeah.
I thought Mrs. Claus was like the most beautiful girl in the world when she was young, and I loved when they were like teaching them how to walk, like just put one foot in front of the other.
It just tells it like music and voice, because the narrator was amazing too. The voice, that one, like as soon as you said that, I relived that whole.
I just like when I think of, I mean, obviously Elf is great and The Grinch is great, but there was just such a nostalgic part of my childhood that it is so emotionally warm when I think back to watching those movies, because they were like, my mom was so funny. I am old enough that Blockbuster existed, that she would rent those at Blockbuster every year, and then because it was an unlimited TV back then, I watched those just so many times.
So I am old enough that when I watched Christmas movies, there wasn't Blockbuster.
That's crazy. Were they black and white?
No.
Oh, wow.
But what you had to do is you would sit in there was like a TV guide, and I remember being a young person, I've always loved Christmas, and I would be combing through in December hoping that there was a Christmas special on in the evening, like at 7 or 7:30 or 8, because you couldn't order your
Movies,
TV.
yeah.
It was pre-scheduled. And so I would spend every day saying, is there a Christmas special coming on? And you get but those claymation ones always inspired me. Is that the one with the wizard guy.
Yes, that's what they teach to. They just
Yeah.
put one foot.
Yeah, I
in.
love that.
I love that movie.
I also love the Happy New Year version with Rudolph
Me
and
too.
the Abominable Snowman.
I love all of those movies.
'Cause
Those
I always
claymation ones.
I always use the Land of Broken Toys.
I know
logo
it's.
from that.
I freaking love those movies.
Good.
Very quickly, what's your favorite Christmas song?
It's the Pogues.
Oh God.
That fairly vulgar one, but I always like that. And I'm a sucker for Nat King Cole, so I go to the Pogues version of Happy Christmas. And I love John Lennon's Happy Christmas.
Oh yeah,
as
that
well.
one's a great song.
That's beautiful.
I too would be. Number one is "All I Want for Christmas with You." Justin Bieber remix
Oh my
with
God.
Mariah Carey, and then number two, it's the best. I love when he comes in. It just gets me going. Like it's woohoo. And then the next one is the Hawaiian Christmas, the Mele
Oh, yeah.
Kaliki
Yeah, that's
Maka
funny.
is the fun. I just think that one is so fun. And a fine Hawaiian Christmas day. Okay, so next is we're gonna do a little fun holiday segment on our favorite Christmas commercials, and then just kind of breaking down why, so that we're continuing to learn in the holiday spirit.
First of all, I think Christmas is it's such an interesting holiday in that they're able to extend it to a month.
It's the best for that reason.
And
And in Canada, almost two, because Thanksgiving is in October.
But it fits perfectly into kind of Western culture, which became a bit of a consumer sounds bad, but also a gift giving.
No, it's 100%
culture.
a consumerism culture. Yeah.
But you've got a month of creating a feeling that leads up to kind of a finals, which is Christmas Day, like the anticipation of kids.
And it's not one person. Like, it's not like it's, your birthday, but it's like, it's all of us. Like, we're all celebrating on the same day. So you have that shared value, that sense of community where everybody is in the joy.
From a brand perspective, it's a way of tracking time, because you can remember your first Christmas as a child. You can remember your first Christmas with a child. You can remember first Christmas away from your family, right? Like it's an anchor point in the history of our lives.
Yeah.
And so it really brings memories, and it's just an amazing opportunity to tell stories about your brand that speaks to your customers. And there's been some amazing commercials over the years that I think capture what Christmas is about. And that's what we'll talk about today.
I mean, mine is really tied to kind of the case study of Christmas, because I think it's really fascinating that Coca-Cola actually created the modern idea of Santa. Like that, like the jolly, like fat man in the red and the white suit. No, it was Coca-Cola. And that's why when you actually, what's really fascinating is for how much we have to travel for work, tracking over the past few years, how much more normal Christmas is coming in cultures that you would have never seen that. So when we were just in Japan, I was talking with Koyo, and they're a non-Christian country, and like how big Christmas markets are becoming. Like they have their first kind of European Christmas market. There was Christmas trees everywhere. When we were like in the Middle East, how much there was Christmas in Egypt and in Oman and Dubai. And it's because Christmas is no longer only about that association with religion. It's this kind of this gift giving, it's this bright colors, and in many ways really kind of created by this idea of Coca-Cola. So my favorite commercials are the Coca-Cola ones. Here's the story. So before Coca-Cola, Santa was a mess. Santa didn't used to look like Santa. He showed up as a thin, stern, bishop-like figure, elfish troublemakers, brown, green, or muted red coats, sometimes creepy, sometimes moralizing. There was no single dominant image. Santa existed, but he wasn't branded. Coca-Cola in the 1930s had a business issue. They were seen as a summer drink, so they wanted winter relevance. So Christmas was emotional, nostalgic, and universal, so they didn't invent Santa, but standardized him.
And put them into their colors.
Yes. So enter Handon Sundblom. So in 1931, Coca-Cola hired illustrator Haddon Sundblom to reimagine Santa for print ads. It wasn't to make Santa famous, but make him feel human, warm, and trustworthy. So he was older but energetic. He had a big belly, rosy cheeks, red suit with white fur, matching, to your point, Coca-Cola's brand colors. And he was laughing, relaxed, and approachable. So he was always seen drinking a Coke, resting, reading letters, and connecting with children. And they basically created the personality of Santa as we know today. So, and Coca-Cola did what brands do best. It was the same Santa, the same personality, the same emotional cues, but it was repeated every Christmas globally for decades. So they didn't chase the culture, but instead trained it. So Coca-Cola is, in fact, in charge of the Santa we know today.
It's very interesting to think of it because, the Brits love Father Christmas. The Germans and Dutch, there was Kris Kringle, but Kris Kringle, some said, was actually kind of not as friendly of a person. The old stores would come in and take things, the kind of naughty or nice. Kris Kringle was kind of a nightmare to kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you're not good, like he's gonna come and do something.
And am I wrong in that there's also something like racialized to it too with Kris Kringle?
Not that I'm aware of.
I think it was something to do with like the soot. And like they'd be like covered in.
No, I don't think so.
I'm gonna search it up. Keep going though.
The best Christmas commercials, though, when you watch them and just go on YouTube and kind of look up some of the best Christmas commercials, they're generally emotional and they put way more time into it. But it allows an opportunity for a company to make the customer the hero again, and the product is just a guide there. And Chevrolet does an amazing job. Every year, Chevrolet has usually made an amazing job that reminds usually parents how important Christmas is. By there's a couple of their commercials. If you do Chevrolet Christmas commercials, there are a few tearjerkers there that talk about.
Every year they do the tearjerkers.
Did you see the one with the woman when she had?
She had dementia and
she brought it back. And then
but the only thing, and there was one this year too. But the only thing for me is, it's a question that I face. Like it makes you feel in those commercials, but I don't find Chevrolet is relevant. You know what I mean? Like I feel like they do these great storytelling commercials, but I don't know if they're like killing it in the selling game.
It's long run because they have a lot of loyalty, and it changes once you have kids too. When you haven't had kids, so Christmas changes when you have kids, and you're in the middle of aging parents and young kids for what happens,
It's true,
and then the memories come.
Yeah.
So Chevrolet just goes to its core audience of those families that have pickup trucks for work or something like that, and the memories that are there. And like I love Chevrolet, and then there's this British company, John Lewis. They've almost become the specialists in amazing Christmas commercials, and they're worth watching. I like the Monty the Penguin one, but there's the Bear in the Hare. There's so many. They almost kind of channeled Beatrice Potter themes in some cases.
Yeah. Well, this John Lewis, they had a bunch of really good commercials because they were, I guess, like a British department store.
Yeah.
My favorite was like The Long Wait, like that, not my favorite of the ones that we pulled. The Long Wait from 2011 was really cute, and it's this boy that's like so eager for Christmas, and you like assume it's like so because he wants to get presents, but he wakes up and all of his presents are there, and he actually goes into his closet and pulls out a present for his parents, and it's like, you know, when things are, you can't wait to like give a great gift.
No, and there was that change at the end that the audience goes wow, and then bam, just as they're feeling that dopamine come over them, then it reveals who did the commercial. And so now physiologically you're like, oh my God, that's so cool. And then you see the name of the brand.
Yeah.
Right? And it's really good. That's why I love, there was one, it's called Doc Morris, but it's called the Kettlebell. I don't know if you had a chance to watch that.
So cute.
It's worth watching. It's actually just a great short movie. I'm not going to ruin it for everybody by telling you about it, but look up the one on the kettlebell because... Kettlebell, right? Which is an exercise. Doc Morris. It's just, but this is what we need to do in our businesses all the time. Create stories that make meaning about your product.
You know what you don't remember, which is so funny, is that we didn't know, but we took that exact theme years ago for one of the gyms that we were branding. Remember, it was the whole idea is like, you want, right?
That was a suggestion, and I hadn't seen it yet.
I know. And it
was do a commercial. So, okay, but then we'll ruin the commercial for people. But yeah, that's interesting.
But that's the whole thing, is that these commercials, you take a common problem and you put a storyline around it so that it makes you feel. And
you help your customer get to where they want to go.
You really pulled the storytelling ones, which the core takeaway for your brand to learn is it shouldn't cost calories. Like it should be really simple to understand. And if you can evoke emotion without needing to burn too many calories to figure out what's happening, that's when you really connect.
Yeah, it's not about selling. It's about evoking feeling. That's synonymous with Christmas. And just my last one is, if you look up the 1914 Sainsbury's Christmas one, the reason why I love this one, it's actually a true story. Most people don't know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I did know this though.
In World War I, the British and the Germans facing each other on the trenches the day before Christmas actually got out of their trenches and played soccer together, exchanged gifts, and it almost looks like Dunkirk or, you know, one of those other cool movies. It's worth watching that commercial because it's beautifully done, and it's just a small product placement at the end in terms of the chocolate, but it also just gets me upset because of how many people die in wars while other people are back there. Because
It's
the story after that commercial is that they actually had to replace the front lines with those soldiers because they humanized each other. They didn't want to kill each other. After that Christmas, they had to put fresh troops there so they could keep just slaughtering young men. But amazing commercials.
Such a good commercial.
What's your favorite one?
Well, my favorite one was I actually just did like full blown. It's like 20 minutes on YouTube, and it's the best Coca-Cola Christmas commercials from past to present. And I just the first one was from the 70s where it's like everyone's singing like I'd like to give the
Buy a
world
world
a
of
show.
Coke?
Yeah.
Oh, but that's amazing.
And then it goes into the Christmas tree of everyone was singing together.
That's the
Loved
best.
that one. And then it was the really cool one where it's like all the red trucks, like almost like sleighs, are coming into town. And as the trucks are driving by, like all the houses' lights turn on. It feels very like Polar Express, kind of like they're making it become Christmas. So I loved those.
Do you know Coca-Cola actually got trucks and drove through communities like that?
Really cool.
Because at first they just made a video of it, but then they started traveling around and actually doing it like that. Is amazing.
Well, it's interesting because again, like when you analyze, the best brands, they understand how to connect to their original brands. So the reason why they created Santa in the 30s is they wanted people to buy Cokes during the cold weather. So all of those ads make you want to have a Christmas Coke, right?
Yeah.
And
they got the polar bear too after.
yeah,
that.
the polar bear they also created too, which was super iconic. That was in the 90s.
Yeah.
And then my other favorite commercial, I think also because of that nostalgia factor, I'm just gonna play it so you guys can hear it because you guys will know exactly the commercial. But I don't pay for YouTube Premium. I loved that commercial when I was a kid. It was all the Hershey Kisses, and then they're in a Christmas tree format, and then they are bells doing the song, and it just, my grandmother always had a bowl of like Hershey's, the Kisses that are in the Hershey's colors in her little like crystal bowl on her table downstairs. And Hershey Kisses to me were always such like a Christmas chocolate because I hated the orange. Remember the orange chocolates that you like throw against the wall?
Everybody thought was an amazing gift, and it was really like.
It's so. I feel like
You know what the other
British.
thing? The other thing was like the gold chocolate money.
Yeah, and they
in
were
the little
orange
bag.
flavored too.
No, they were just normal
those are from the
chocolate,
dollar store,
but they were in
yeah.
the stockings at the time. But
Oh, yeah.
we actually used to get an orange tangerines in our.
My mom gave me
in the
that
bread.
too.
Yeah, like there was something cool about that. Going back to Coke, they're some sort of masterclass like that. I'd like to buy the world of Coke.
Oh yeah, so
really
good.
channeled into that kind of 1970s peace thing, right?
Well, that song.
And so they made peace.
But that song was a 1970 song.
Yeah.
I'd like to be the world a home.
Yeah,
We
in
watched
perfect
it.
harmony.
We watched it in school. They
Yeah.
had a whole program
Yeah.
of all of those kinds of like great songs, and I watched it in elementary school. And like a lot of the stuff like taught kids about like divorce is okay, and
Yeah.
that was one of the songs that was in that program. I wish I could remember what it was.
See, people would try to cancel that today because it took a peace song and commercialized it, but it actually made that song more popular, and I think made people kinder.
I know. I whatever that program. If anyone remembers what that program is, send it to me because I loved the songs that came from it. It was really well written and well produced. Did your mom at Christmas, like I would in my stocking, like if we needed toothpaste that week, like it was in my stocking. If we needed deodorant, like that was in like it was like non-Christmas asked things just so that the stocking could get like more fat.
I loved how my parents would do stockings, but you know, I was thinking about this morning because like I remember waking up and there would be like a car racing track, right? Which, but back then you didn't have everything.
Yeah.
Like you just like, I found even like in raising my kids, they just always had what they wanted pretty much. And so Christmas is like, it went from one nice present to now you got to get them 6 presents. Like it seems to have less anticipation because people have more stuff. Like back in the day, it used to be the one time you could get that special thing that you would save up for somebody. Like it's
Christmas, I used to like love making my Christmas list and sending it off to Santa. I was totally one of those, like I milked it longer. Like I just, even though my friends told me Santa wasn't real, I was like holding on until like 10 or 11 because Santa gave me like exactly what I asked for.
yeah, I like getting things that I didn't ask for as a surprise. But when the listeners are reviewing the best Christmas commercials from a business perspective, relate it. Try and think about how you can tell a story about your business or yourself that has meaning, that makes people feel.
Evoke emotion.
Right? And you help guide them to the emotion they want to feel, and then they'll come to you, right?
You know, it's a fun fact that the Range Rover Evoque,
Yeah?
Victoria Beckham designed it with Range Rover, and she called it Evoque because she wanted the car to evoke emotion.
What emotion? just generalized emotion? Because the Range Rover was a
I think
Jeep in the British Army. Like,
No, I think the Evoque makes me.
but what does it
I
evoke?
really liked it. It evokes something. Style.
I would just ask the next question. What evoke?
You're like it's like a little fun party fact. Like when you're like in a car, maybe you're carpooling and you pull behind an Evoque, you can go, hey.
Can I give another rogue lawyer fun fact?
Oh,
Because
no, here we go.
when you were talking about it at the beginning, you said whatever our first segment is, they went down a road less traveled or something like that. I think in the Pantone thing you meant it, and I wrote it down. But just in case, when people say if you come to a fork in the road, take the path less traveled.
Is that what you should do though?
Well, that's what they say, right? Take the path less traveled. I get it,
Do
but
they?
if you're lost, don't do that.
Yeah, never do that.
If ever you're lost and you come to a fork in the road, turn around, because civilization always goes against the forks in the road. The road's spread out by forks. So if you're ever lost and you want to get back to civilization, if you get to a fork in the road, go back down the other road.
I feel like people are more likely to be stopped at a red light beside an Evoque than they are to be
You guys tell us which one was more useful to you.
wandering in the wild and you come up to and like who the hell is telling them to take the path that no one's walked down?
Well, because
doesn't make any sense.
Well, that's where adventure and self-discovery.
No, it's a metaphor, to take the road that's hard.
And if
but
you're in the
it's
forest and you're lost and you find a river, follow the flow of the river down, because settlements are.
Do you have anything better, just so that we can actually wrap them up with?
That was amazing. This discussion's been amazing. People are going to definitely vote for me over you there.
I mean, honestly, guys, if anyone is stuck on the island, bring Philip if you want to survive. Bring Camille if you want to be entertained.
Shop.
Not shop. There's no shopping on the island. Well, guys, I hope you have an awesome week. We look forward to seeing you next week. And I just got a really nice message from Erin Levin that said I asked everyone to reach out, and she's reaching out saying, I actually listened. So, Erin, thank you for sending a nice hello. And guys, I would love to hear from all of you. So have a great week. And if you come across good brand shit, send it our way. We love this shit.
We'll feature it.
Goodbye.